Alright, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn is officially out in theaters now, so it is time for my spoiler talk! And that is a spoiler warning. If you have not seen Birds of Prey yet, do not watch this video, otherwise I will break the movie for you. And anyway, you should go see this movie because, in case you haven't heard, it's gotten some pretty positive reviews, which I'm actually really glad that people like this movie, because it just shows that DC is doing something right. Although I gotta say, one of my grievances after seeing the movie for the first time was that I wasn't really surprised by anything, because the trailers pretty much give most of the movie away. I mean, not every single little thing in the movie, but most of it. This is one of those movies where if you've seen the trailers, you've pretty much seen the movie. But after my second watch, that gripe really dissipated, because I was like, well, so what? It's still a fun-ass movie. But anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's dive into the Birds of Prey spoilers. So the movie starts out with this really fun 2D animated sequence, narrated by Harley Quinn, and it's pretty much her life story. She had a terrible childhood, she went to college, she became a psychiatrist, she fell in love with the Joker. Although the Joker they show in this sequence doesn't really look like the Jared Leto Joker from Suicide Squad. Same thing with that Joker drawing that ends up being a target in Harley's apartment. In fact, it actually looks more or less like the Joker from the original 60s cartoon, which I pretty much see as the DC universe telling us, yeah, the Jared Leto Joker, he's out of the picture. Which I guess is fine if Harley Quinn is pretty much taking over as the Joker of the DC Extended Universe. What I mean by that is she's Harley Quinn and she's enough for this universe, because we have seen plenty of Jokers. Let Harley Quinn have a chance. I mean, this entire movie is pretty much let Harley have a chance because this is Harley Quinn's movie, which means there are a lot of Harley Quinn moments that I'm gonna be talking about in this video because there are a lot of them and they're pretty good and they're funny. Example, that crying shot from the first full trailer where I was like, not a huge fan of that shot because it's not the prettiest thing to look at. That actually ended up being a pretty funny moment because she was crying for her egg sandwich that was tossed out of her hands and landed on the street. I laughed out loud at that because it was hilarious. Also, Joey Tribbiani would completely understand Harley's reaction. We all have that food where if it landed in the street, we would react like that, let's be honest. But anyway, then we meet Roman Sionis. Hello there. Played amazingly by Ewan McGregor. On the outside, he's the owner of this nightclub lounge type place, but on the inside, he is quite the misogynistic little fuckwad who has Victor Zsasz cut off the faces of his victims, which I did think that was actually kind of cool because that does keep in with the whole Black Mask motif because, you know, cutting off people's faces and holding it like a mask. But on the other hand, I was like, ugh. Gross. But it does really show how much fun Ewan McGregor is having in this movie. Like the scene where he's showing Dinah Lance around his place. He's showing her those little shrunken heads and he's like, this used to be a living person, now it's just an ornament in my living room. Ugh, that was funny. It's all character setup, you know? There's a lot of character setup in this movie. The scene where they're cutting those guys' faces off is pretty much character setup for Black Mask, showing how much of a dick he is. But as far as setup goes, I do appreciate that they showed the Bertinelli massacre, because that scene actually did two things. It set up Huntress's backstory, and it also set up the Bertinelli diamond, which is pretty much the MacGuffin for this movie. Because it's revealed that within that diamond's atomic structure are the codes and coordinates to the Bertinelli family fortune. So now everyone's after this diamond, which has been stolen by Cassandra Cain, who swallows the damn thing, which I love the scene where Harley finds that out because she breaks the fourth wall there. Cassandra Cain's like, I ate it, okay? Then Harley's all like, that's all you needed. That to me was one of the funniest moments in the movie. Harley is pretty much DC's version of Deadpool, as people have been saying. And she did have a couple of fourth wall breaking moments in this movie, which I felt really worked. Also Black Canary. First of all, Harleen Quinzel was not wrong when she said that Black Canary has a killer voice. Holy shit, when she was singing It's a Man's World in the nightclub, I was like, whew. Man, oh man, those are some nice pipes. However, the one thing the movie doesn't explain that I wish it did was the Canary cry. The movie doesn't explain how she got this superpower, and I don't even know. From the DC lore, comics, or TV shows, or whatever, I have no idea how Dinah Lance has this Canary cry superpower. I was hoping this movie would explain it, but it doesn't, so I still don't know. If someone does know the origin of that, go ahead and tell me in a comment. However, one of my favorite scenes in this movie, this scene. Yeah, the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend scene. At first it kind of felt out of place because it was in the middle of another scene. The scene where Black Mask has Harley Quinn tied up in the chair. He just bitch slaps her across the face and then she goes into this fantasy where she's singing some sort of EDM version of Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend by Marilyn Monroe. But then it just ends and it goes right back to the previous scene. I was like, okay, well, that was random. And I do still think it was pretty random, but I can toss that aside because it was just a fun-ass scene. Because like the very beginning, she's like, kiss on the hand, maybe quite continental, then she just chomps the guy's finger. I laughed. I laughed at that. It was funny. Yeah, good scene. So now everyone's going after Cassandra Cain because it turns out Roman Sionis put a bounty on her head. $500,000. Harley Quinn breaks into the police precinct going, where can I find Cassandra Cain? However, that scene gives us one of the biggest, most obvious Easter eggs in the entire movie, is where she sees that wanted poster on the wall. She's like, hey, I know that guy. And pictured on that wanted poster is Digger Harkness, aka Captain Boomerang, who we know from Suicide Squad, played by Jai Courtney, who will in fact be reprising that role in James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie movie coming out next year. Another really good moment in this movie is where Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain are in the grocery store, because not only is that also where Harley Quinn gives another good recap of her life story, but also the part where Cassandra Cain is like, you were so busy looking at one hand that you haven't even thought about what my other hand is doing. I want to know if anyone else thought of that scene from Focus when that line came up, because there's a scene in Focus where Will Smith is pretty much doing the same thing with Margot Robbie. He's like, oh yeah, my hand is doing this, you're not even paying attention to what my other hand is doing. I don't know, that's just what I thought of, because I still like that movie. It's a good movie. Then we have Huntress. Alright, let's talk about Huntress. Because like I said, I was really looking forward to seeing Mary Elizabeth Winstead play Huntress in this movie. And sure, she was quite a badass, but the funny direction they decided to go with her character had me going like, oh, well, okay, that does take away from the seriousness of her story. I mean, if we're being honest, Huntress is the most detached from the story of this movie. You know, Harley Quinn and Renee Montoya and Black Canary, Cassandra Cain, their story, like, they're all interconnected, and then Huntress just kind of comes out of nowhere because she has her own agenda. So Huntress, Helena Bertinelli, yes, that Bertinelli, she was part of the Bertinelli family that got massacred, and I think she was the sole survivor. So she's taken overseas, trained to be a badass, she's got a vendetta, she's got a kill list of all the people who murdered her family. Starting to sound like Arrow or Arya from Game of Thrones. But I thought, that's a really cool story. You know, her family was murdered, so now she's got a kill list of the people who murdered her family. That's always a cool story. But then you see her practicing in the mirror, all like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And you know, everyone's calling her the crossbow killer instead of what she wants to be called, which is Huntress. I mean, it was funny, I'll admit it. I laughed. So I can't really complain. It's just, I don't know. I'll get over it. But it turns out that Victor Zsasz was one of the killers of the Bertinelli family, and he is the last person on Huntress's kill list. So now we're at the end of the movie, Amusement Mile, the booby trap. They're all there, and then Huntress kills Victor Zsasz by shooting an arrow in his throat. So yeah, Victor Zsasz, dead. Although I do like that they show that, yeah, Victor Zsasz does carve tally marks on himself. It's not all organized like tallies, like I'm used to seeing on Victor Zsasz. No, they're all like all over the place. It's all like scratchy and cool, actually. I thought it was cool. But yeah, point is, he's gone. Now, in this last act of the film, there were a couple of things that I didn't really buy. Like, I was like, that wouldn't happen realistically. One of the things is after the big fight between Harley Quinn and Renee Montoya, Harley's like, you killed my sandwich, and she kicks her out of the window. But then later on, you see Renee Montoya come right back up through that window. I was like, she survived that fall? And not only did she survive, but she's completely fine. Not a bruise on her body, that I could see anyway. I don't buy that. Also, when Black Canary lets out her canary cry, which is awesome, because it just knocks all those guys out, but then Harley Quinn just skates right through it. She was skating right through it. The canary cry was still going, and she just goes, oh, excuse me. I was like, what? Okay, she's not affected by it, apparently, I guess. I'd say maybe friendly fire was on, but oh wait, it's not a video game. So, I don't know. However, that action scene where Harley Quinn is hanging on her roller skates to Huntress riding her motorcycle is like a car chase. That was a really fun scene. Just, that was a ride. That was a lot of fun. One of my favorites in the movie for sure. And it gets to the point where they're on Founders Pier. Black Mask has Cassandra Cain, and Harley Quinn's there. She's like, I'm the one they should be scared of, not you, not Mr. J, because I'm Harley fucking Quinn. I was like, huh? Called it. I knew that line wouldn't really be freaking, because that would have been dumb. But Cassandra Cain's like, I took something from you, Harley. I took your ring. And she's talking about a grenade pin. Roman Sionis is like, what the fuck? Harley Quinn kicks him over, and then he just explodes. Just, you see his guts and everything land in the water. I was like, oh! That was awesome, hilarious, good moment. So yeah, Black Mask is dead too. Rest in pieces, you misogynistic fuck. Just saying, that was great. So now is the end of the movie, the epilogue, if you will. Turns out Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain are not gonna be part of this new team. It is gonna be three: Renee Montoya, Huntress, and Black Canary. They call themselves the Birds of Prey. I call them dorky little do-gooders. And apparently Harley Quinn has taken Cassandra Cain in as her apprentice, to which I'm like, okay, this could go a couple of different places. Because in DC lore, Cassandra Cain is one of the Batgirls. So I'm thinking maybe this could go there, but probably not, because I don't see how her being Harley Quinn's apprentice would lead to her being Batgirl. So then I'm thinking maybe Cassandra Cain will show up in The Suicide Squad, which Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, is slated to be in. If Cassandra Cain is not in that movie, then Harley's going to have to explain where Cassandra Cain is. Because the movie ends with Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain and the pet hyena Bruce. They're all just hanging out now. So will the hyena show up in The Suicide Squad? Will there be another hyena? Where's Cassandra Cain gonna be? I don't know, but I do want to see where Harley Quinn and Cassandra Cain's relationship goes, because I liked it in this movie. And there are no credits scenes in this movie. There's not a mid-credits scene, but there is kind of a post-credits moment. It's actually pretty funny. Harley Quinn just starts talking over the end of the credits. She's like, you dummies are still here? Alright, I'm gonna let you in on a super duper secret. Did you know that Batman And then it just cuts off. I was like, alright. That's pretty funny. If you want my guess as to what she was gonna say, I thought she would say something like Batman fucks bats, because she did say that about Batman in the current Harley Quinn TV show, which is really good, by the way. But ultimately, your guess is as good as mine. In the end, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn is a fun-ass time at the movies, and I am hoping to see a few of these characters in future DC movies. I mean, I know we'll see Harley Quinn again in The Suicide Squad, but what about after that? How about another Birds of Prey movie? Because the Birds of Prey's new outfits look really cool. Maybe they'll have a cameo in The Batman or something. I don't know. But I'm glad this movie got good reviews. I'm not sure about its box office though. We'll see where it goes. So what is your favorite movie in the DC Extended Universe so far? Mine? Aquaman. Can't wait for its sequel. But whatever yours is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.